March 22, 2021, 11:58 p.m. A privately owned office building located just outside downtown Denver prepares to shut down for the night. The building isn't large, but it's not small either. 4 floors, a basement level used for storage and maintenance, and a single main entrance monitored by a fixed security camera positioned directly above the glass doors. Every person who enters the building passes through that camera's field of view. There are no blind spots, no alternate entrances, and no emergency exits that can be accessed from the outside. On paper, it's a controlled environment. Everything in and out is recorded. At least, that's how it's supposed to work. The building is operated by a mid-sized logistics company. Most employees leave by 6 p.m. By 10 p.m., the entire building is usually empty, except for one person, the night security guard. On this particular night, that guard was a man named Daniel Reeves, 42 years old, former military, 8 years of experience in private security, no prior incidents, no complaints, known for being consistent, observant, and most importantly, reliable. His job was simple: monitor the cameras, log any unusual activity, ensure the building remains secure until morning. At exactly 12:03 a.m., Daniel begins his routine review of the live CCTV feeds. 8 cameras total. Lobby, hallway intersections, stairwell entrances, basement access, and most importantly, the main entrance. The system records continuously, storing footage locally and backing it up every 12 hours. For the first hour, nothing unusual happens. No movement. No unexpected activity. Just empty hallways and static frames. The kind of quiet that security guards are used to. Predictable. Repetitive. At 1:17 a.m. that changes. The main entrance camera detects motion. Daniel looks up from his monitor, expecting something minor. Maybe a reflection. Maybe headlights from a passing car triggering the sensor. But what he sees doesn't match either of those. A person is standing outside the building. The camera captures a clear silhouette through the glass doors. The figure is facing inward, standing still. No attempt to hide. No attempt to move away. Daniel pauses the feed for a moment and leans closer to the screen. This isn't unusual, but it's not normal either. The building is closed. There are no scheduled visits. No late-night staff. No deliveries at this hour. Still, people sometimes show up at the wrong place. It happens. So Daniel continues to watch. After a few seconds, the figure reaches for the door and pulls it open. This is the first detail that doesn't make sense. The main entrance is locked automatically after 10 p.m. It requires a key card from the inside system to unlock. There's no external access, no keypad, no manual override. And yet, the door opens. The figure steps inside. The camera captures everything clearly. The person enters the lobby, pauses briefly, and then walks out of frame toward the interior hallway. Daniel immediately shifts his attention to the next camera. Hallway intersection. He expects to see the same person appear within seconds. But the frame remains empty. He rewinds the entrance footage. Plays it again. The sequence is identical. A person appears. The door opens. They enter. And then, nothing. No continuation on any other camera. No movement in the hallway. No stairwell activity. No basement access. It's as if the person walked into the building and simply stopped existing within the system. Daniel doesn't react immediately. Instead, he assumes a technical issue. Camera delay. Feed desync. Maybe a recording glitch. He checks the timestamps. All cameras are synchronized. No lag. No dropped frames. Everything is functioning normally, which means, if the person entered, they should be visible somewhere else. But they aren't. Daniel stands up from his chair and looks toward the actual lobby. From his position in the security room, he has a direct line of sight to the hallway leading to the entrance. There is no movement, no sound, no sign that anyone is inside the building. He considers going to check in person, but protocol says otherwise. Never leave the monitoring station unless absolutely necessary. So instead, he logs the incident. Time, 1:17 a.m. Description: unknown individual entered building. No further visual confirmation. At this point, it's still just an anomaly. Something that can be explained later. Something that doesn't require immediate escalation. But at 1:26 a.m., it happens again. The same camera. The same entrance. Another figure appears. This time the person is walking. Not standing still. Moving with purpose. They approach the door. And just like before, it opens. Without resistance. Without authorization. The second person enters. Clear on camera. Undeniable. Daniel doesn't look away this time. He immediately switches between feeds. Entrance camera shows the person inside. Hallway camera. Nothing. Still empty. No movement. No transition. No delay. Just absence. Now the situation changes. This is no longer a one-time glitch. This is a pattern. Two separate entries. Two separate individuals. Both recorded entering. Neither recorded moving further. Daniel leans back slightly, trying to process what he's seeing. There are only a few possible explanations. Camera failure. System error. Something else. He checks the system logs again. No errors. No warnings. No interruptions in recording. Everything is operating exactly as it should. Which leaves only one possibility that doesn't fit. The footage is correct. And if the footage is correct, then two people have entered the building, without ever appearing anywhere inside it. At 1:31 a.m., Daniel does something he hadn't planned on doing. He rewinds both clips, places them side by side, and watches them again, frame by frame, looking for anything he might have missed. Any detail that could explain what's happening. But instead of finding answers, he notices something worse. In both clips, right before the door opens, there is a slight distortion in the image. Not a glitch. Not static. Something subtler. Like the frame itself shifts for a fraction of a second. Almost like the camera is adjusting to something that shouldn't be there. Daniel pauses the footage at that exact moment. Zooms in. Enhances the contrast. And what he sees isn't clear enough to identify. But it's enough to make one thing certain. The people entering the building aren't alone. The moment Daniel notices the distortion in the footage, the situation shifts from a minor anomaly to something that demands attention. He doesn't react emotionally. Not yet. Instead, he leans forward, elbows resting on the desk, eyes fixed on the monitor as he replays the clip again, slower this time. Frame by frame. The kind of review you only do when something doesn't make sense. The first clip shows the initial figure standing outside the building. So, almost waiting. Then just before the door opens, there's a brief shift in the image. It's not a flicker. Not a drop in quality. It's more like the frame itself bends slightly, as if something passes between the camera and the subject, but without ever fully appearing. The second clip shows the same behavior. Different person. Same distortion. Same moment. Same result. Daniel sits back, processing it. If this were a camera issue, it would affect more than just a single frame. It would show up elsewhere in the feed. But it doesn't. Every other second of footage remains perfectly stable. The distortion only happens once, and only at the exact moment the door opens. He checks the system diagnostics again. Runs a manual sync across all 8 cameras. No faults. No desynchronization. The timestamps align perfectly. The recording is continuous. Whatever he's seeing isn't being caused by the system. At 1:38 a.m., he makes a decision. He's going to verify it in real time. Daniel switches all monitors to a multi-view layout, placing the entrance camera at the center. He keeps the hallway, stairwell, and basement feeds active around it. If anything enters again, he wants to track it the second it crosses the threshold. For the next several minutes, nothing happens. The building returns to silence. Static frames. Empty hallways. No movement anywhere. But the tension doesn't go away. Because now Daniel isn't waiting for something to happen. He's expecting it. At 1:52 a.m., the motion sensor triggers again. The entrance camera highlights movement. A third figure. This one doesn't hesitate. The person approaches the door immediately, walking straight toward it without stopping. There's no attempt to look inside. No pause. No uncertainty. Just direct movement. Daniel watches closely. As the figure reaches the door, the same distortion appears again. Slight. Brief. Almost impossible to notice unless you're looking for it. And then, the door opens. The third person steps inside. Daniel doesn't blink this time. He switches instantly to the hallway feed. Nothing. He switches to the stairwell. Nothing. Basement access. Nothing. Every camera shows the same thing. An empty building. But this time something feels different. Because for the first time, the third figure doesn't disappear immediately. On the entrance camera, they stop. Just inside the lobby. Standing still. Facing forward. Daniel leans closer to the screen. The figure doesn't move. Doesn't turn. Doesn't step forward. Just stands there. Seconds pass. Then 10 seconds. Then 15. And then slowly, the figure turns its head. Not toward the hallway. Not toward the interior of the building. But directly toward the camera. Daniel freezes. The angle isn't perfect. The lighting is low. Everything undisturbed. No signs of forced entry. No signs of movement. No signs of anyone hiding. He checks the third and fourth floors next. Same result. Every room clear. Every hallway silent. By the time he returns to the main level, one possibility remains. The basement. Daniel stops at the top of the basement stairs. The door is closed. Locked from the outside. Standard protocol. The basement is rarely used after hours. Mostly for storage and maintenance equipment. There's no reason for anyone to be down there. He unlocks it. Slowly. Pushes the door open. The first thing that hits him is the temperature. Colder than the rest of the building. Not dramatically, but enough to notice. Enough to feel wrong. He angles his flashlight downward and begins to descend. The steps creak under his weight. The light barely reaches the bottom. Each step feels slower than the last. The kind of descent where every second stretches just a little too long. When he reaches the bottom, he pauses. Listens. Nothing. No movement. No sound. Just the low hum of distant electrical systems. The basement is larger than the upper floors. Open layout. Concrete floor. Rows of shelves and stacked boxes creating narrow pathways between them. His flashlight sweeps left. Then right. Everything looks normal. But something feels off. Not in a way he can define. Just enough to keep him from relaxing. He starts moving forward. Slowly. Checking each aisle one at a time. His footsteps echo slightly in the open space. The beam of light cuts through darkness in narrow lines. He turns a corner and stops. There's something on the floor. Marks. Not random. Not scattered. A pattern. Faint, but visible in the thin layer of dust covering the concrete. They look similar to what he saw upstairs. Dragging marks. But longer. More defined. As if something had been pulled across the floor. Moved on its own. He follows them. The marks lead deeper into the basement. Between the shelves. Into a darker section where the overhead lights don't fully reach. He adjusts his flashlight. Tightens his grip. And keeps moving. The marks continue. Straight. Unbroken. Until they suddenly stop. Not fade. Not trail off. Right in the middle of the floor. Daniel stands there, staring at the last visible line. There's nothing beyond it. No continuation. No turn. No sign of where it goes next. As if whatever created it simply ceased to exist at that exact point. He slowly lifts his flashlight, scanning the space around him. And that's when he sees it. On the far wall. Something different. Not marks on the floor. Marks on the surface. At about eye level. 3 of them. Evenly spaced. Identical to the ones near the entrance. Identical to the pattern he saw on the storage room door upstairs. His breathing slows. He steps closer. Raises the flashlight. The marks aren't scratches. They aren't damage. They're impressions. Like something pressed against the wall. Briefly. Intentionally. He reaches out. Stops just short of touching them. And then, his radio crackles. Suddenly. Loud enough to break the silence. Daniel, You need to come back to the control room. Now. The voice is sharper this time. Different. Not routine. Daniel turns immediately. What's going on? There's a pause. Then. You need to see this. Daniel doesn't respond. He doesn't ask questions. He just turns and heads back the way he came. Faster this time. Up the stairs. Through the hallway. Back into the security room. The monitors are still active. All feeds running. But one of them, the entrance camera, is no longer empty. Daniel steps closer. His eyes fix on the screen. There are people inside the building. Not one. Not two. More. Standing in the lobby. Completely still. Facing different directions. None of them moving. None of them speaking. Present. Daniel checks the timestamp. It's current. Live feed. He looks at the hallway cameras. Still empty. He checks the stairwell. Empty. Basement feed. Empty. He looks back at the entrance camera. The figures are still there. Unmoving. Unrecorded anywhere else. And then, one of them moves. Slowly. Turning its head. Toward the camera. Daniel doesn't step back. He doesn't react. Because in that moment, he notices something worse. The angle. The position. The way the figure is looking. It's not looking at the camera. It's looking slightly below it. Directly at where someone would be standing. On the other side of the screen. The radio crackles again. Daniel, how many are there? Daniel doesn't answer. He just keeps staring at the monitor. Because the number is changing. More figures appear. One by one. Each standing in silence. Each facing a different direction. None of them entering. None of them exiting. Just appearing. The